What's good, guys? Angel of the Night 091 here, coming at you with another Global Challenge Series 3 battle. Now, this is one of my favorite matches in this entire competition, and I'm sure you guys are going to be able to tell why. Tropius is one of those Pokemon that you don't normally get to see a whole lot of, but when you do see them, they usually tend to throw you off or kind of impress you, and this is exactly what this Tropius is actually going to do. Now, one thing I'm going to mention is his Tera typing. Now, we'll get into that here in just a second because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's definitely different than the usual water typing. Most Tropius you see tend to go for a water typing to kind of negate the ice or the fire type moves coming after it. But this guy here, he's got a little bit of a different strategy. Now, he does happen to have an ability called Harvest, and I believe he has a citrus berry if I'm not mistaken. Personally, I like using a Paldea berry because it kind of boosts up the Paldea boost. Because, I mean, this thing does get roost, so I mean, that's kind of my own personal interest in Tropius, but this guy goes in for the Tera typing of Electric. I don't know what to say more about the Tera typing of the Electric, but it definitely kind of threw me off a little bit because I was like, why are you going for a Tera Electric? But that's just me. If you guys agree with it, post your comments, let me know what your thoughts are on the Electric typing. We go in for the Flare Blitz here. Flare Blitz, of course, is going to do some damage off onto the Tropius. As you can see, he's going to get some health back with his berry, and that was a citrus berry, of course. Hydro Pump coming in to the Talonflame. Now, Talonflames, most Talonflames nowadays will basically set up the Tailwind as soon as possible. That is the biggest, best thing to have with Talonflame. As you guys know, and it's very common in Series 3 to see those Talonflames. So in comes his next Pokemon. It is going to be Kingambit, and with the Kingambit onto the field, I'm a little bit threatened, and I'm going to tell you why, because Kingambit is one of those big, bad Pokemon in Regulation C that just tends to get some work done. As you can see, here's the Sucker Punch. It does a crazy amount of damage off onto that Arcanine, and of course the Giga Drain coming in from the Tropius just to be able to finish off the Rotom-wash. Now, that is a fantastic play, obviously, for the Tropius because it gains back its health, and of course, with its ability of Harvest, if it gets down there again, it's going to basically get its berry back. However, we get a Flare Blitz off onto the Kingambit. That does a lot of damage off onto him, thankfully. And, you know, we do lose our Arcanine in the process, but we do have a couple of Pokemon that will be beneficial. We do have the Amoonguss and our Paldea Tauros. I'm never going to get tired of saying Paldea Tauros, but we bring him onto the field. As you guys know, this is a double cursing Ghost Tera Tauros. It's actually my favorite Pokemon on this entire team, and I will never, ever get tired of using it. Obviously, I'm going to try to maybe use it into another tournament, but we'll see how it goes in this remaining Reg C tournament here in Global Challenge. So, one of the things that we can get off here, we should be able to pull off a victory against the Kingambit. We did get an attack drop. I don't remember if it had Defiant on the Kingambit, but if it did, that would have been actually huge because it would have boosted its stats versus, you know, lowering it. So here we go. Obviously, the attacks don't affect the Amoonguss. He was trying to get the Spore off. We went for the close combat, getting the damage off onto the Kingambit, lowering our stats, by the way, but at least we were able to just, like, knock it out. We did not go in for the Tera Ghost, obviously, because if we did, his Sucker Punch would have done a crazy amount of damage. Now, he's going to come in with a Garganacl here. Now, Garganacl, I know you guys have seen in the past. It's a very common Pokemon in competitive right now. Even in Regulation C, it's just got some crazy defense. Plus, with the Salt Cure, you know, the fact that it can't be statused, it's definitely quite an important Pokemon to have onto any kind of a team. So we're going to go in for the Rage Powder here, and of course, you know, we're going to go in for some work with the Tauros. In comes a Wide Guard. Now, of course, Wide Guard will be able to protect the two Pokemon if there is a move that is going to be damaging both of them. So obviously it's going to fail here. Leech Seed, of course, trying to come in against the Amoonguss because obviously we went for the direction change. Get a close combat off onto the Garganacl, of course, you know, further dropping our defense and our special defense. He gets a little bit of his leftovers there, and of course he's going to get his health back up just ever so slightly. Tailwind, though, has petered out. Now, with the Tailwind petering out, of course, you know, they may not be able to outspeed other Pokemon, depending on their IVs and Evs. Now, Garganacl is going to go in for that Protect. Definitely a smart play for him, because obviously he wants to get a little bit more of his leftovers back up. So that way, if he does get an attack, or get some damage off onto him there, he's going to be able to survive a little bit more. Amoonguss becoming the center of attention. Now, here's the Giga Drain, of course, obviously coming from the Tropius. Now, if it wasn't for the Amoonguss, I probably would have had a bit of a difficult time. These are both, I feel like they're both bulky kind of sets rather than the usual. Leftovers coming back into the Garganacl, of course. Not going to keep repeating that out there. But we are going to go in for a close combat again onto Garganacl. The chances of it being able to protect a second time in a row are definitely diminished. Every time they use Protect, obviously, the worse options you get for basically having it get pulled off. 2 times is not uncommon. 3 times definitely isn't necessarily always a thing, if at all. We're going to go in for the Tera typing of our Tauros, going into that Ghost typing here. Now, the Curse definitely helps out later on in the battle, but as the Ghost variation of Curse. Here we go with the Rage Powder there yet again, and I believe the Tropius just went for the Protect. Close combating into the Garganacl. Okay, now Garganacl is now down and out. That is 3 Pokemon on his side gone. But like I said, I'm very, very excited about this Tropius. Now, in the battle while I was doing this, I was like, okay, this is going to be a big mind game, because he's got so many capabilities to go with here. If I didn't go for the Tera typing, and he, let's say, had Air Slash or whatever, Air Slash would have definitely taken out the fighting Tauros. Versus this Ghost one. So I actually ended up going in and setting up a Curse onto the Tropius. Now, most people don't really think about a Cursed Tauros or getting cursed, but this thing here has Substitute. Now, by going in for the Substitute, saying, okay, you know, we're going to be able to block any kind of an attack that comes in, we're going to get the Harvest, we're going to get the Citrus Berry, we're going to be able to Giga Drain, we're going to be able to survive. However, with the Curse, we're going to be able to whittle away his health every turn. So that's the biggest reason why I went with the Ghost typing here, is because of the fact a lot of Pokemon in this Regulation C or Global Challenge tend to go and set up their stats or set up behind like a wall. This is basically going to allow me to take the same amount of damage every turn. So he basically gets affected regardless. The one thing that I have to keep in mind, though, is that because he does have the Harvest ability, his Citrus Berry is going to be able to continue to regain his health, as you guys can see here. So this is kind of why I'm really excited about Tropius, because, I mean, there's not too many Pokemon, I don't think, in this generation that has the Harvest ability. And in past generations, I've been able to pull off some pretty interesting things with Harvest, more so with, like, you know, Lyachis and Pitayas and, you know, not necessarily citrus. I'm not a big citrus berry fan, as much as I should be, but I always like getting those stat boosts, because, you know, it kind of pulls off some pretty interesting things. So we get some damage off here onto the Substitute. The Substitute, of course, is going to break. We do have the Tera Blast here. And that's definitely what we went for. We didn't necessarily go for any kind of close combats because we didn't want to lose any more of our stats. Now, we didn't boost any up before we went for the Tera typing, but here we go with that Curse. That Curse, of course, is taking away some health. And as you guys can see, there is the Citrus Berry coming back. So during this battle, I'm kind of back and forth. I'm kind of feeling like, okay, if I make one wrong move, this is going to go south. However, with the fact that it has Substitute and all that, it definitely has the chance to stall out. Not necessarily with the Leech Seed, of course, on the Amoonguss, because quite frankly, it can't do anything with the Amoonguss. But he could have definitely stalled out the time, could have been a draw. But in this situation here, we actually managed to kind of trick him up a little bit. So he's down into the good old yellow zone. He's about 25% health. We get a Spore off. And, you know, I don't know why I didn't think about this before in the battle. But, you know, it is an electric typing. I could have spored. Anyways, we put him to sleep. Here's the curse. He gets down into the red zone, and that is going to allow us to finish off this amazing Tropius moveset. I definitely want to try it if I could find out what the actual set was, because quite frankly, I think it's an interesting Pokemon, definitely enough to try, but I'd probably change up some of the pairings just a little bit. But that is going to be the battle. If you guys enjoyed that battle there today, you guys know what to do. Go ahead and post your comments. Press that like button. Let me know what you guys think about this match, and I will catch you guys in the next battle. Take care, have a good one, and as always, peace out.